is Liz Dreckman. I'm the president of Choose a School. We're a nonprofit organization. We help families find the best school for their child. We also help advocate for them if they want to get an IEP for their child or a 504, or they're looking into what therapies or options are available for their child. So one of the reasons I moved to Arizona is because Arizona has a really awesome array of school options. We have really great district schools. We have charter schools, which are also public schools, but they're run independently. We have private schools, and we have scholarships that are available for private schools. So if you want to send your child to a private school or a specialty school or a school for children with special needs, there are tax credit scholarships and empowerment accounts available to you that you can use. So I'm kind of a specialist in helping parents navigate that and how to apply for those scholarships, which ones they'll be eligible for. We also have a really vibrant homeschooling community, really awesome magnet schools and online education. We have programs like K-12 where a student can do their entire schooling through the internet, which is really convenient and really wonderful for some families that like that model. We have great Montessori schools, so we basically sit down with each family and say, what are you looking for in a school? What's important to you? If your child has been in school already, what have they struggled with, and what are their interests? Maybe you want to send your child to a school that specializes in the arts or STEM education. They're really interested in science. That's a really good model if they're looking for a school that specializes in science. So we basically will look for a list of schools that are near you or near your office, where you're kind of the radius you're willing to drive to, and we'll help you figure out which one might be a good fit for your child. And if you decide that a private school is a good choice for your child, or you take it to where you really love the school, we'll help you navigate the process of applying for scholarships to that school. So there's a lot of misinformation out there about schools in Arizona and which ones are good and which ones are bad, and there's nearly an article every day about some school or system that people don't like in the paper, and I'm here to tell you that there is not a school that fits every single kid. There isn't a school that's perfect for every child, and you may have 3 kids and each child would do better in a different environment. I know for my kids, they're very different learners. They learn different ways, and what might be great for one child isn't going to work for another child. So we're really, really fortunate in Arizona that we have all these options available to us. And it's an issue I've been working on for over 20 years, but when I started looking as a parent, I actually found it completely overwhelming. And I didn't even know where to start. I ended up going to 30 schools to tour them. I didn't tell anybody what I did for a living. I just went as a parent and signed up, and I found the process really difficult, actually. It was very hard every school had a different application, every school had a different process. There were 2 or 3 that said, I'm sorry, you can't come on a tour until your child is actually 4.5. And I was like, well, I'm looking now because I want to decide on preschool, and I'm not sure I want to move them, between preschool and kindergarten. So I found it to be a really eye-opening process, even though I do education stuff for a living, to look for a school. And I'm a working parent, so it wasn't easy to get away to go on a school tour. So we try to kind of eliminate the rigmarole and eliminate make the search process easier so that you don't have to go to 30 schools. So you can say, look, I really want an environment that is student-led. And then I can say, well, then you're really looking for a Montessori school, or you're looking for this model. This would be a good fit. Here's a list of schools that fit that model. And here's the ones, that school that you saw on the corner that you think is really awesome and you want to go on a tour there. It's fine to go on a tour there, but it doesn't really fit what you're looking for. And the other thing that Choose a School does is we work directly with over 400 schools. We help them with things like marketing, student recruitment, teacher recruitment, student retention, fundraising, all sorts of things that we know that schools school leaders, teachers wear so many hats at their schools that sometimes they don't have time to do things that will really benefit the students and will really benefit their school community, and we can kind of help make those things easier. So one of the most interesting comments that someone made to us is, it's at a school, I won't say the name, but it's a name that you would recognize, and they were having this huge problem where they had tons of parents that were enrolling their kids and staying for like a month or two. They liked the school facility, they heard great things from their neighbors, but they just weren't prepared for the amount of homework that the school had, and they were like, well, this seems like a good fit, I'll just sign up, but they really weren't aware of what the school culture was like and what the day-to-day experience was. So one of the things that I help parents with, whether it's a parent-teacher conference or a school tour, I basically will give them a checklist of, these are the things that you want to ask. You want to ask, like, what's a day in the life of a student here? Like, what does your day schedule look like? What does it mean? How long do they have for lunch? How long do they have for recess? Do you have, 2 recesses a day? It's required now that students have that, but some schools only have 15-20 minutes for lunch, and that can be a big deal for a child that eats slower or really needs that downtime in the middle of the day. And so I try to encourage parents to kind of think of, instead of being so focused on, you want a school that teaches and has a great academic program, but you also want a school where your child is going to feel successful and also have a good experience every day and want to go back every day, because that is, an enormous percentage of the success is if your child is comfortable there, if your child is having a good experience. We just had this conversation over there at the tent. There are going to be some years where your child has a teacher that just isn't a great fit, or there's some issue with the teacher, or maybe their personalities just don't get along. And that's an okay thing, because we all have experiences where we have a boss, co-worker, or somebody we have to deal with on a daily basis that is very difficult, but you have to advocate for your child. So it doesn't mean you move your child out of that class, it just means that you are the best advocate. You know your child the best, you know what their needs are, you know kind of what their full day and experience is, what they struggle with. So don't be shy in advocating for your child when their needs aren't being met at school. It may not be that they need an education plan or 504, they need they need something more. Maybe it's just you need to sit down with the teacher and say, this isn't going well. I've told my friends, my child's coming home every day crying and they're really struggling with math. But just because it's your child's teacher doesn't mean that you can't sit down and say, let's figure out a way to make every day a good day and every day successful for them. Every teacher I've ever met really loves what they do, or they got into it for the right reasons. They love the kids. They want to make them successful too. And it's really important for them to feel like they have a partnership with the parent. Not every teacher is going to listen to what you say or listen to what you ask for. So at that point, if you run into a problem and your child isn't getting their needs met, then that's the time to take it to the curriculum director or this vice principal or the school principal and say, look, I've tried this, I've talked to the teacher, and I really need help because I want my kid to love school. I want my kid to come here and to leave every day better than they were the day before and feel like school is a place that they want to go. They're not going to have that experience every day, but you want that to be more days than not. So if you're not getting your needs met as a parent and your child isn't as a student, then it's really important that you advocate for them and that you talk to them too and say, I notice that when you get in the car at the end of the day, you're just disappointed to have to, it seems like you're so relieved to be leaving school. Or there have been times where I've asked my daughter, what's your favorite part of school? And she says lunch and recess. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just there have been periods of time where she really struggled in school or had a hard time. And so just try to have the pulse on how your kid is doing in school and feel like, you are the consumer. If it doesn't work for your child, and the school is not responsive, you have other options. You aren't stuck there. That's the wonderful thing about Arizona, is you don't have to go to the school that your child is assigned to. You have so many awesome options. Our charter schools in Arizona are literally leading the country in academic gains and test scores. And our public schools, we have so many A schools, A-rated and B-rated schools in the East Valley. I don't think parents realize how fortunate they are to live in a state that has those options that kind of lifts all boats. So a lot of people, at times I've called myself the school choice lady. My favorite part of my job is basically sitting one-on-one with parents and saying, how's school going? What do you think of your school? Because even if they're happy in their school, that's kind of a data point for me to say, oh wow, next time I talk to a parent that lives near there, I'm going to recommend that school to them. Or I'm going to say, hey, have you checked out this school? So even if you're happy in your school or you have great things to say about it, I encourage you to share those things online and to tell people about it, because it's really important that we celebrate the victories that we have. We have so many awesome options, so many awesome schools, so many awesome models. Like, let's not let all of the bad news and all the negativity that we see out in the world and we see in the newspaper kind of crowd the airways. Let's talk about our kids and talk about the robotics team that won at our, local district school, and let's talk about the chess team that won at this charter school, and let's talk about our kids when they have victories, because they need to see that more than they need to see the negativity. There's plenty of that in the world. So I'm really excited to be here, really thankful for MOMnation having this event, really thankful for the community. I know I have gone to MOMnation so many times looking for a resource or a question, whether it was looking for a dentist or just having a question about momming. It's a really, really wonderful resource. I've met so many awesome people here today. I look forward to the friendships and also getting to know their businesses and sharing their information. So if you haven't checked out MOMnation, you need to be on there and kind of getting to know the community. So thank you.